Howdy folks, it's AJ coming at you again, and I thought I'd shoot off another video real quick. I picked up quite a few subscribers over the last couple days, and I didn't want to slack off and risk losing any of the few that I've got. I want to hang on to, and then if people like what I'm doing, maybe I'll pick up a few more. So I thought I'd do another video for you. I'd start off, I want to start off this one with talking about how I generated my handle, Greyhawk 4x4 that I use. It's pretty simple. I'm a lifelong Dungeons & Dragons player, and I started with the original game world, which was the world of Greyhawk. And as far as I'm concerned, it's the default world for anything Dungeons & Dragons as far as I'm concerned. I know a lot of people love the Forgotten Realms world. A lot of people like the Dragonlance setting and so forth, and they're great in their own right. I just happen to be a purist, and I like the original Greyhawk realm. I do a lot of stuff. I've played a lot of stuff in the Forgotten Realms setting as well. I've read the Dragonlance books, so I'm not a Greyhawk snob. That's my preferred platform for the original paper and pencil D&D. And the 4x4 at the end is it's simple. I drive a 4-wheel drive truck, and so I thought Greyhawk was just a little too simple, and I thought adding the 4x4 at the end kind of snazzed it up. So that's where I came up with the Greyhawk 4x4. So that little piece of business is taken care of. I'm looking at notes here so I don't forget anything. That's why I'm looking down. Staying with the Greyhawk theme, I thought that I would show a couple pieces from my collection relating to the world of Greyhawk. The first one is, this is for the people that are old enough to remember it. This is the original Folio, as they called it, that came out, and I believe it was I want to say 81, somewhere in that neighborhood. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I'm thinking it was around 1980, 81, somewhere in there. And this is the one that people that are old enough that did play in the World of Greyhawk setting, they remember this. There were box sets that came after this, quite a few of them, From the Ashes and things like that. But this was the original Folio. Now, having said that, this is not the original work that Gary Gygax and Dave Arneson put out when D&D first started. I also have that. That is the actual original, and I've got it in plastic because it's kind of rare. See if I can get that without getting too much glare on it. This was for those that remember, the original Dungeons & Dragons, when it first came out, it was in these little booklets, and there was 3 of them. And then this was the very first supplement, and Greyhawk was the world that. And I have to correct myself. I said Gary Gygax and Dave Arneson. They created the original books for Dungeons & Dragons, the original booklets. But this particular supplement was actually Gary Gygax and a guy, the last name was Kuntz, and I don't remember his first name, but it says it right here. So I had to correct myself there. Arneson was not credited on this. I'm sure he had some input, but he wasn't credited. So yeah, this is the actual first Folio. So if there's any old Greyhawk fans out there, they may or may not even know about this one. A lot of them think that the Folio was the very first work that was put out, but that little booklet was actually the very first. And then as Greyhawk evolved and went into the different box sets and all that, and TSR ended up being bought out by Wizards of the Coast and all that, at one point there was actually there's only one that I know of, only one computer game that was set in the world of Greyhawk, and that is the Temple of Elemental Evil. I don't have my game box here handy, but I did find the rule book that was in the game box. And it does say a classic Greyhawk adventure is what as they have it termed. And the Temple of Elemental Evil was one of the very first adventures that Gary Gygax wrote for the Greyhawk game world. So this adaptation, the PC computer adaptation, is actually based upon the Temple of Elemental Evil, which was one of the very first adventures that Gygax wrote for it, and it's pretty close to the module. Now, there were quite a few glitches and bugs and so forth with the game. The game's a lot of fun to play and everything, but it did launch with a lot of bugs and problems and so forth. So actually, there's a group of fellow Greyhawk nuts like me who are devoted to that as the original game world for D&D, and they're known as the Circle of Eight. And the Circle of Eight actually did a mod. They did a self-published mod for Temple of Elemental Evil, the computer game, and it's still available. So the game itself is available at G.O.G. For those of you that know what that is, that don't know what that is, it stands for Good Old Games, and they have a lot of old titles that they sell fairly cheap, that you're able to download, and there's no DLC, and you can download as many times as you want. So there's no fear if you lose a hard drive or something like that you're not going to be able to get it again. You have an account. It's kind of like Steam. You have an account, and you can always download your games and so forth. And I don't get paid from G.O.G. or anything like that. I'm just providing information for you guys, so that if something you're interested in, you want to go find it, I'm kind of giving you info of where to look. So I'll actually put links in the description for this video for G.O.G. for the Temple of Elemental Evil. It'll go straight to that title. And then I'll also put a link in the description for the Circle of Eight for their mod that you can download if you end up buying the game and you want to download the Circle of Eight mod for it, which I highly recommend because it fixed a ton of stuff. So, oh, and then also, if you do get the one from G.O.G., they routinely, with most of their games, they offer bonus content when you download from them. Sometimes it'll be a soundtrack. Sometimes it'll be different avatars that you can use. Picture avatars that you can use for like forums and stuff like that, that are included. There's artwork sometimes that'll be included. So there's a lot of little, and whatever game you're looking at, when you go to the website, it'll tell you what the bonus content is and everything. So, so that's it with the items that I wanted to show you guys, Greyhawk related. I'm actually wearing a couple other items, just to show that I'm what I call a collector's edition moron, because I'm the guy that when they put out these games and they say, oh, let's put some extra crap in there, some swag or whatever, and sell it for an extra 20 or 30 bucks, and there'll be guys out there that'll have to have it, and well, that's me. I'm that guy that has to have the collector's edition of every damn thing I buy, and I've got 2 pieces of evidence on my body right now to prove it. This shirt, and I know some of you probably already picked up on it. Let's see here. That little logo right there. This is from Neverwinter Nights. Not the original Neverwinter Nights, which was way back with America Online. It was actually one of the very first MMOs that you had to pay by the minute. And in one of my other videos, I go into that. But that was way, way back. This was the Neverwinter Nights that was put out, I believe, in the late 90s. The original one was put out in the late 90s. And, of course, I bought the collector's edition, which actually every box had a shirt like this in it. And it's, it's pretty much a one-size-fits-all type of a deal. But it's actually a nice shirt. It's a long sleeve, and it's got the logo and it's got Neverwinter Nights on the sleeve here. And it's got the Forgotten Realms logo down here. And then on the back, you won't be able to read it, but it's got it says, it's actually a quote from a game magazine. I think it was Game Informer, one of those, that says, you know, one of the greatest role-playing games you've been waiting for, or something like that on the back. I don't know the exact writing. And then the other item, of course, is my Half-Life 2 hat that I'm wearing. Once again, if you ordered that from Steam, if you pre-ordered it from Steam, the Platinum Edition, you got the hat, and you got the guidebook, and a bunch of other. I think I even got some pictures that came in, and then another video at some point. I'll probably do a Half-Life video, just all about my my history with Half-Life, the whole series. But anyway, so these are my two pieces of clothing actually that I've gotten from collector's editions. If any of you've gotten other pieces of clothing from collector's edition, I'd like to know about it, because as far as I know, these are only two of them that I know. I don't remember. Most other collector's editions, have they'll have figures, or they'll have trading cards or whatever, but I don't know a lot of them that had actual pieces of clothing that you could get in the collector's editions. So you feel free to add it in the comments if you've got anything that I don't know about. So I think that's going to be it for today. I hope you liked the video. Whether you did or you didn't, and you want to comment, go right ahead. And if you're new to if this is the first one you're seeing and you feel like you want to subscribe, please do so. I plan to put out more of these videos. I've got, as I've said before, I've got a pretty massive collection of gaming-related memorabilia, collectibles, swag, whatever you want to call it. I've got a pretty massive collection, and so I don't have any kids, so this is my way of sharing it with somebody. I don't know who's going to get it when I die, but at least this way I can share it with people out there in the interwebs. So anyway, enjoy.